We continue with our brief introduction of wireless systems, ending by zooming in to Wi-Fi in particular, and that's where we'll be spending the rest of this course. We had talked about a variety of different kinds of wireless systems and categorization for wireless systems in the previous video. Now let's consider why wireless in the first place. As alluded to in the previous video, performance of wireless systems is not as good as wireline. In what way is it not as good? There's data rates, for example. The reason that we have performance is not as good is because wireless is more difficult, more challenging. Given the state of our understanding of signal processing and various kinds of technologies, we can always do better in the less challenging environment of wireline communications, meaning that the channels are easier to model, they are not so time varying as wireless channels, you don't have multipath and other things as much as wireless, so it's easier to get better bit error rates and higher overall throughputs and things like that. But people still are very interested in wireless and use it because of other benefits. So things like the ability to move around when using wireless communications. You don't have to be tethered to some wire that's connected to this device. So from the performance point of view, then wireless is not as good, but people want to use it for other reasons. So as long as we can get decent performance as far as performance is concerned, people are okay. Generally 1 or 2 steps behind wireline. From the point of view of security, it's harder than wireline because of various features that we'll be talking about in subsequent videos. So we will postpone this for now. But because of convenience, mobility, and freedom, people want to use wireless. Just one example of the many places where we see people really love Wi-Fi is just to look at some surveys that were done of travelers, and the fact that they might look for hotels that have good Wi-Fi services, maybe free Wi-Fi service, and even that the availability of Wi-Fi or lack thereof could be a deal breaker as far as deciding whether to stay in a particular place or not. Things like that. Now, just to do a final big picture comparison between Wi-Fi and other wireless systems before we zoom in on Wi-Fi and remain there for the rest of this course, let's compare Wi-Fi with some other similar types of technology. So these are also terrestrial systems and tend to be used for personal communications, not really broadcast communications. We can compare Wi-Fi with cellular on the one side and Bluetooth type systems on the other side, because Wi-Fi is a wireless local area network system, so it generally means a few hundred meters radius or diameter of coverage, and that's smaller than what we see with cellular systems. So things like 3G, LTE, and so on, those are cellular. Those are wireless metropolitan area networks or wide area networks. And then on the other side, you have Bluetooth, smaller coverage areas like 10 meters or even as low as 1 meter, wireless personal area networks, WPAN. And technologies like Bluetooth are more for cable replacement, short distance communications, very short. Whereas cellular, you can see some other differences besides it being wider area. It also came from telephony routes where data was added later on, whereas Wi-Fi came from data communications routes. It started with data communications from day one, and voice over Wi-Fi is just another application. It's just another data application that goes over Wi-Fi. So you'll be some kind of voice over IP over Wi-Fi. It doesn't have special provision for voice, unlike cellular, which had these very different routes. So therefore, Wi-Fi focuses on enabling wireless local area network and data. Today we see Wi-Fi everywhere. It's in all kinds of devices and appliances, laptops, mobile phones, set-top boxes, various things everywhere. And one thing we would like to also add is that it uses unlicensed bands and has been doing that since the early days, because it's a different model from cellular systems. With cellular, you have licensed bands, and so then certain operators would pay high amounts of money to a government and then license the spectrum, and then they can use it and operate their system. With Wi-Fi, it's more of a free-for-all. Different people can deploy their systems, and these are found in homes, offices, etc. You don't need licenses, but security issues abound. It could be argued that it's related to this kind of more free model of deployment. There's less control. There's also other reasons for the security issues, and we will get to those in subsequent videos.